Yeah, what up, man? It's Baseboxing Basement Triple B. Sorry, I haven't done any videos. Yeah, I've been away seeing a pal of mine who lives in Reading, man. I stayed a few days, man. Fuck me. Tomorrow I leave, right? Let me tell you this for nothing, man. I ain't never. Listen, I don't know if I've been to Reading. I think maybe I did when I was a youth. But it's one of the biggest shitholes I've ever been to in my life. I told my boy, I said, this is horrible, man. You live here? I don't mean to disrespect nobody who live in Reading, but I've never seen such a shithole in my life since I've been to Slough. You understand me? I wanted to go out and party. I'm like, well, I'll have a look around. Obviously, I got to visit the nearest Spoons, because, I want to compare it. Everybody know now, like, I like going to Spoons because it's like going to a zoo. But some zoos are worse than other zoos, man. And the Reading Zoo is a shithole, man. Yeah. And tonight my boy flaked. Yeah. I said, come on, let's party. I said, I'm not here for that long. Had a couple of drinks ago. I feel a bit tired. I'm going to go home, the pussy hole. Anyway, so I went off for my Jack Jones. And, it's like most British towns, right? You got ugly women with terrible tattoos scrawled on them, fat pigs with badly dyed hair, white trash, There are a lot of foreigners too, like Browns. I mean, imagine living there, man. Anyway, I go to Spoons, you get me? And there's a couple of doormen. They look like the softest doorman I've ever seen. And I've whacked out a doorman once, by the way. But these guys, the guy I whacked out made these guys look like Rambo. And I whacked out a doorman when I was like 11 stone and 19 years old or something. Yeah, so these two guys are sitting there. One of them's fat, ugly. He's got loads of moles on his face. Now, I don't know about you, but moles freak me out. Especially the ones that are raised, that are like warts. You know what I mean? You look like some kind of animal, some kind of pig, some kind of subhuman. And he had a bad haircut. And he was about 50. I'm like, really? Is this the best you can do for doorman? Anyway, I'm like, all right, bro. I walk in, and then the other doorman is just like, I don't know, he's an Arab guy or Indian guy or something. I think he was Arab. And he's about 5'8". He weighed about 13 stone, but quite a lot of that is lard. And he starts, I've got my chain on. I like my chain, man. It's a silver chain. He goes, your chain is no good, brother. I said, sorry, what you want? He goes, your chain is no good, brother. It should be thicker. Now, this chain's worth about 500 quid, Yeah? And I'm like, sorry? Why are you saying that to me? Hey, you should have bigger chain. I'm looking down my nose at this idiot. 5'8", middle-aged Arab with a pot belly. And he's trying to get funny with me. I mean, I'm just thinking, turn around to the white trash bouncer with a pink face, with warts and moles all over it, and I'm just like, man, you need to get your boy in check. And I walk in anyway, and I order my usual Bud Light. It was, so I made Bud Light because it's low calorie, it's low alcohol. I don't like to get too drunk these days. And I was just like, why would you say that to a punter, especially one who outweighs you? I'm like 15 stone, but solid, 6'1", and this 5'8" midget with a pot belly is trying to rinse me for having a chain, which is, a half decent silver chain. So I couldn't believe it. Anyway, whatever, man. I got over it. I go to the bar. Now, let me tell you this for nothing, right? Every single Spoons I visited, I should do a review of all these Spoons. Yeah, because they are the ugliest, the fattest, most grimmest women I've ever seen work anywhere. Where do they find these horrors? Where do they find these disgusting, fat schlumpers? You know what a schlumper is? It's German for a slag. Yeah, skit. And they've got all these stupid scrawls all over their body. Usually their hair is dyed like green. Honestly, they're fat. And they just sit there. They're rude. They're rude. And they sit there. You know, you're waiting at Wetherspoon bar. Wetherspoons, I like to call it, after Tim Wetherspoon. Yeah, one of my favorite fighters, who, by the way, I hung with one time. And these fat schlumpers, these disgusting pigs, are just hanging around. You'll be waiting there. There'll be you and another guy waiting to get served. And there'll be these 5 disgusting fat pigs taking their time, waddling around behind the bar. You know, like they don't want to serve you. And of course you look at them because you're like, come on, man. I'm here, I'm waiting, serve me up. But they, you know, they look at you with contempt. Now, can you imagine being a fat, disgusting, tattooed, ugly, short pig working at Wetherspoons, and you actually try and look down your nose at someone? It's shocking to me, bro. You know, how do they find these ugly people? I know it's not a high-paid job, but, I mean, come on, man. Surely you can find someone who isn't grumpy. Even if she's a fat pig, you know, and stupid tattoos, and her hair is dyed green, but she's friendly. I'll be like, you know, I'll give her a pass. You should eat less, you disgusting pig. You should eat less. You should be less fat. You shouldn't dye your hair a stupid color. You shouldn't put these stupid tattoos all over your horrible, overweight, gluttonous body. You're like the female version of John Fisher, Big John Fisher. Yeah, Mr. I'll be lucky to see it. I'll be lucky to see Christmas because I'm a disgusting pig. Yeah. So, and, you know, I'm like, eventually I get my Bud Light, head to a table, I'm just sitting there chilling. I'm answering a few, like, comments on my channel. I'll get to that later, man. The funniest one is there's this dude on my channel who started answering, you don't know nothing about boxing. You just talk and you don't know anything about boxing. I bet you've never boxed. I'm like, Anyway, I'll get onto that, man. He's one of these idiots that claims to have had 50 amateur fights, and he's done unlicensed and pro and amateur, and, you know, I get onto that. It's so hilarious. You see these liars, and they're so easy to spot. Anyway, so I sit down, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. And there's some quite cute girls in there, but they're too young, you know, they're young, man. But there's also a lot of damaged youth, you know, damaged youth sitting there, you know. But the worst thing is when you see a girl who potentially is pretty, but she's deliberately uglified herself, you know, by putting stupid tattoos everywhere, including on her neck, or sometimes a bloody boat race, yeah. And look, by the way, I understand the horrors of me mental health illnesses, but, you know, and some of them had, like, you know, they cut their arms with razors. And I feel sorry for that, because you got to be pretty desperate to do that. But I'm like, man, get yourself in shape, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know their history, but suddenly there seems to appear all these people that look the same. And they think they're unique. They think they're different. No, you're all ugly. You've got a stupid haircut. You've got stupid piercings like that thin through the septum. You know, like, you know, like when you got a pig, or you got like a cow, a bull. So you put a hoop through its nose so you can drag it around. Well, why these women got hoops in their nose? You know? And I see weirdest piercings. I see one with a piercing on the eyebrows. But not just like a hoop or something like that. It's like a long metal bar, most of which is under the skin, and 2 little balls on the end, just above their eyebrows. Now, there's nobody with a sensible outlook on life that sits in the mirror and goes, damn, I look good. damn, I look good with a metal bar under my skin and two half-centimeter metal balls on either end of it. Oh, I look so good. I mean, what the fuck is happening with people, man? Well, there's no rhetorical questions on the Triple B show, as you know. So obviously, there's psychological attacks through media, other ridiculous so-called music stars, actors, stuff that happens at school, chemicals in food. There's no reason for this collective madness, insanity of ugliness that I see with my eyes, man. I'm looking at these women, I'm just like, man, I'd rather cut my Corey off, I'd rather rump you up with someone else's Corey than touch you, you disgusting schlumper, yeah? Anyway, I couldn't last that long. Like I said, my man's a pussy hole out. So, I walked back. I'd, to the hotel, because my man's only got one room place. I rented out a hotel just to see my pal. I see my pal who flaked. Yeah. And I passed a homeless guy. Now, I feel sorry for homeless guys. I know a lot of them got drug problems, but a lot of them have had odd lives and stuff. So, and I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? He's in a wheelchair, this guy. Now, I feel anyone who's, like, disabled on the street or who's old on the street, I usually try and help out because life's tough enough. I mean, if you're one of them young drug addicts, I feel for you, man. But I ain't giving you none of my money. Because I ain't got not much money. But old people or people that are disabled in some manner, I will give them a quid usually. Yeah. But anyway, so this guy said, what's up, bro? He started talking to me. I go, yeah, what's happening, man? He goes, yeah, cool, man. I said, look, you want a bit of help? He goes, yeah. Yeah, I do. I said, all right, man. I put my hand in my pocket. I'm about to give him a quid. And he goes, yeah, I'd like a curry. I said, sorry? The cheek of this guy, man. He was in a wheelchair. He goes, yeah, I'd like a curry. I said, listen, bro, this is not going to happen. He goes, I'll share it with all my mates. I said, listen, I ain't buying you no curry. I ain't got no money myself. I said, I'll give you a quid. He goes, oh, thanks, man. I'll share the quid amongst my friends. I thought, no, you're not. Stop lying. You're going to spend it. You're going to spend it on a Carlsberg Super Brew and drink it yourself. At least don't lie to me. And being on the streets is rough. I was on the streets for a couple of days, so not long. And then I went to B&B, but homeless B&B, but it's not sweet, man. And if you're weak, you get crushed. You don't realize these bums on the street, they look like pussy holes. And obviously they can't fight or anything. But, they can be more streetwise. They can be bullying. If you're weak, you'll get found out, man. You get robbed. I remember seeing some guy I spoke to, and he goes, I've just been robbed of all the money. I begged. He might have been lying, but he was crying as well, so I felt a bit sorry for him. I give him some cash money. You know what I'm saying? But, anyway, on the way home, see, there's a couple of Wetherspoons in Reading. I said the way home. It wasn't my home. So I'm saying on the way to the hotel, motel, I like to walk. I don't like to take buses or taxis. I'm walking. And there's another Wetherspoons. I'm like, nah, man, don't do it. But I went in. I had one Bud Light. They said, we out of Bud Light. I said, okay, well, it's some Chinese bird, yeah? Now, Chinese women are usually too intelligent to work in Wetherspoons, but this one weren't. I mean, I ain't into rice drilling, as you know, but she was not, like, ugly. But, don't get me wrong, I wasn't thinking, damn, I'd like to take you home and I'd like you to make me some bamboo noodles. I wasn't thinking that. I'll make some chop suey, but I just thought, what, wow, that's weird. You're not fat. You haven't got stupid tattoos. You haven't got stupid coloured hair. Why are you working Wetherspoons? Anyway, and I said, well, what do you suggest? I got a smile on my face. I'm being charming. And she like, I don't know, what'd you like? I said, well, lager, preferably low calorie. And she goes, oh, I don't know. She called the manager over. He goes, yeah, oh, Bud Light would be good. I said, yeah, but your Bud Light has just run out, blood. He goes, oh, well, what about Guinness? I said, well, that's not a lager, is it? Guinness is not a lager, bro. And I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to take this into my own hands. I said, just give me a course. It was like $3.99, which for Wetherspoons is expensive, bro. Anyway, I'm sitting down. Fuck. I don't know. How do I get in these situations? I have no idea. I don't know. Do I have, do I have something written on my head? I've been cursed. Have I been cursed? And I'm sitting down there, right? And this Saudi guy, no joke, is sitting on the opposite table. He's on his Jack Jones as well. I feel a bit sorry for him. He's looking around. He's wearing a Hawaiian-style shirt. Yeah? And he looks very out of place. I'm like, yo, bro, what's happening, man? And he's like, because he was like ogling. Is ogling the right word? Or ogling women? Looking at them creepily. And one of them had a go at him, and I felt a bit sorry for the little prick. So I said, yeah, man, come on, just sit down, bro. I said, what's your name? I could have guessed it. Guess what his name was? Mohammed. His name was Mohammed. I mean, that's no surprise, is it? I said, all right, Mo. Mohammed. I said, what you doing here, bruv? What you doing in Reading? Oh, I work for an IT company. I said, all right, okay, good. How'd you like it? It's okay. I go, what's Saudi like? Very different. I was like, fucking hell, man. Huh? I've managed to pin down the Saudi bard, the Saudi Shakespeare of expression. And I'm sitting there, and it was a bit, that Wetherspoon were a bit fruity. And anyway, so I'm talking to him, and he goes, yes, and there's a couple of girls who were staring at them. I said, listen, bro, I don't think they're interested in you. He goes, why? I said, because they're rug munchers. They like to rug munch. He goes, what do you mean this rug munching? I said, they're Libyan. Oh, triple B. Okay, I understand. I said, yeah, they're rug munchers. I go, don't get me wrong. After a few drinks. Because like rug munching, Libyan stuff is just foreplay, isn't it? It's foreplay. What they do is they kiss, cuddle, and munch each other, and that's it. But it's foreplay. Like Queen Victoria said, they can't actually have a bunk up because neither of them have a Corey. And at some stage, though, especially the borderline ones, they have a few too many drinks, and before you know it, the back of some guy's crib with their face in the pillow, their ass in the air, with a Corey up them. And, and they butch girlfriends probably all upset because they can't get hold of them on WhatsApp or Snapchat or whatever useless, stupid thing they use. Anyway, I said to him, listen, bro, them girls aren't really for you, bro. To be honest with you. And he was drinking. I said to him, Saudi, you can't drink, right? He goes, no, not possible. And I lectured him. I started to lecture him. I go, actually, it is possible. But you have to go to a specific designated drinking area, and you have to be a diplomat. He went, oh, I don't know this. I said, well, I'm telling you. Yeah. I said, and then I started to try and red pill him. And he's sitting there, not because he's bored, because he's low IQ and his eyes are glazing over. And he can't understand simple concepts to do with finance, media, financial banking ownership, media ownership, and how they're all in league together. You understand me? And so I'm just sitting there going, man. And then I start realizing this Mohammed, he said he's not into rug munchers, but this Mohammed, I don't know, his eyes were, no joke, I swear down on my life, I'm not making this up, his eyes were too close together as well. And so he's staring at me with these eyes, two beady eyes, too close together. And then I realized he might be a fruit. And I'm like, okay. Because he didn't have a go. He had a go at Rug Munchers, but he didn't have a go at Battyman's. And there was a Battyman table in the Spoons in Reading. And I'm like thinking, this guy's a fruit. He even invited himself to my table. Hey, can I come sit with you, Triple B? I said, yeah, go on, Mohammed. And then I started trying to explain to him how decadent the Western world was. I had my tongue in my cheek, obviously, because the older Saudi prince. I even said, do you know who Turki al-Sheikh is? He goes, I think so. I showed him a picture. He goes, oh yes, Turkey, very nice. He might have just been saying that to make conversation. Probably had no idea who Turkey was. But anyway, and I said, yeah, you know what, all this kind of decadence and sickness is going to come to Saudi. I said, I already told you. I said, 12 years ago, a woman couldn't go on her own. 12 years ago, a woman couldn't drive a car. And they're putting women boxing on. It's changed now, man. And I go, don't worry, man, all the sickness you see in the West. He goes, oh, no, but I think it's not just West, it's everywhere. I go, yeah, that's right. So, but they're different levels. He goes, Saudi will become degenerate well. I said, wait, 10, 15 years, they will allow Bati business. I said, I know, don't get me wrong, these Saudi sheikhs are all into Bati business and doing massive, disgusting dirt on each other's heads. And celebrities' heads, these massive dirts. So I was like, and I was trying to explain to him about the sickness of Bati business. And he started looking at the floor. And then he goes, thank you very much, Triple B. I have go now. And he wandered off. And I realized, hang on, Mohammed is a Bati man. He's come to the UK to seek out Corey. But he's barking up the wrong tree. Because my Corey never comes out for anything else but a pretty girl. Yeah? And it hasn't been shown for a bit, to be honest with you. But it will only come out. The Corey will only get, and Mohammed realized, nah, this guy's not interested in Tubati business, which is what I want. So he wandered off. All this is in two Wetherspoons in Reading, man. Yeah. And you know what I was thinking, right? So, people talk about fat girls, and I talk about spoons, and I don't mind the occasional chunker, I don't mind the. I mean, when I say chunker, size 14 is the max. Borderline 16 would be the max, but it had to be young, they had to be blonde, they have to have blue eyes, they have to be beautiful. So one time I was in a club, and this girl came up to me, and she's about 14. And she had a very pretty face. She had plump, pink lips. Big breastises. And, she was game. I always wonder, because fat girls like to enjoy life, don't they? Fat girls, they like to eat a lot. That's why they're fat, because they eat a lot. Why? Because they love it. They love it. They love the headedness. They enjoy eating food. They don't want to restrict themselves. If they fancy a huge milkshake, a huge chocolate milkshake, they'll have it. They won't even question themselves. But it's the same with drink. They like to get their drink on and party, And they like Corey. They like a lot of Corey. They live a life of excess. Drink, chocolate milkshakes, pies, pizza, and also Corey. So she was game, man. She was game, and she was a pretty thing. I should have taken her number, man. She was game as F. I should have taken her number, but I didn't, right? It was weird. She'd come back to my crib. I'd take care of business, so it was about a 2-hour bunk up, And she was game and fun. And I enjoyed myself. And then I thought, maybe she'll stay the night. And then when I wake up in the morning, I can cuddle up to her because she'll be all big, fat, and warm. But that night she left. And didn't used to happen back in the day. Usually, if you take a girl home and you rump her up, yeah, she will stay with you. Or if you go back to her crib, you stay with her. But nah, this one, like, after I take care of business and I'd satisfied her, she was like, ooh, for a bit, ooh. And then she left. Probably she went to the fried chicken shop. Because there's nothing a fat girl likes more after a bunk up than fried chicken or some kind of food. So, and she left her bra. That was the weirdest thing. She left her bra. And it was huge, man. Like, I mean, she was young, right? She like 22. So even though she was a little on the big side, her body was in shape because she was young. That youthfulness. She probably looks like shit now, but back in the day. And then she went off, and then next day, I'm thinking, all right, whatever. Yeah, it was kind of fun. And I found a ginormous bra on the fucking couch. Ginormous bra. It's so big. Yeah, I can put it on my head. And wear it as a hat. I'm fucking not joking, yo. Yeah. This bra is so big, the cup is so big, I can wear it as a hat. Anyway, the next time I go back. Actually, it wasn't a club I met her, it was just a bar. But they had, a dance floor and all that, one of them whack bars where they kind of, they're not a club, they're not a bar, they sort of do a bit of both. Anyway, so I went out to the same bar. And I took a bra with me because I thought, what if she's there? I said, hey, I forgot this. But I didn't see her. And so I after a couple of ales, I threw down a few ales and I got a bra out and I wore it as a hat. I swear down, bro. I swear down. I wore this bra as a hat for about an hour in this bar. in this bar. But yeah, she never came back anyway. But there you go. What else happened? Yeah, I went to another bar when I was in Reading, and they required ID. I said, do you know how old I am, man? You think I'm under 18? And they're like, oh, it's not that. It's for your own safety. I said, how can it be my own safety giving you up my private details? But it's the only place open. So I said, right, go on, man. I got my driving license out. They took a picture of it. And they took a picture of my boat race. I said, are you having a laugh, man? Yeah. I was a bit pissed. So I was like, I didn't really care. I pulled a face. I gave them a 3/4 side eye. And they took a picture of my boat race. And I went in the club. Again, it was a bar club. And I was just thinking, I can't believe. Obviously, I didn't take no cash because of the cashless society thing. But they were like, they actually took a picture of me and my driving license to allow me into a bar. And I said, why are you doing this, man? They said, oh, someone got stabbed. I said, so? What's that got to do with me? I didn't stab nobody. Oh, it's for safety. It's for your own safety. So if anything happens, I said, shut up, man. Yeah, I mean, you tripping. This bouncer, he was like 23. Yeah, he looked about as hard as a slice of camembert or brie that's been left in the sun. Just a soft bastard. He couldn't even handle a couple of questions. I said, oh, this is wrong. You're taking people's privacy away. It's their image is owned by them. So if you're a model, yeah, someone uses your image in their campaign, you get paid a lot of money. Okay? It's recognized that they can't use your image or take a picture of you and just use it. But these people seem to think they can. In Spoons, it's illegal, by the way. It's illegal. I can't believe nobody's pulled it up. Well, I can, because the Wetherspoons, Mr. Wetherspoons, is an ugly guy who looks like a fat version of Rutger Hauer. Yeah, do you know that guy, Rutger Hauer, the 80s guy who was in The Hitcher and stuff, and Blade Runner, the original one? He goes, yeah, it's like Tears in Rain. One of these, we're going to be like Tears in Rain. I've seen starships on fire on the edge of Orion. Yeah, you know, that guy, Rutger Hauer. But the Wetherspoons guy looks like a fat version of him with a huge bouffant. Imagine thinking he looked good with a red face, a huge belly, and a giant blonde bouffant. People are just insane. Anyway, you know, I've had enough of Reading, man. If there's anyone who lives in Reading who wants to dispute my version of how whack Reading is, then please do, man. I'm sure there are some decent guys. You know, but I'm not going to go back again. I don't care if my pal lives there. He flaked on me anyway, right? Sorry. He flaked on me anyway, yeah. You know, it's all around Britain. It's not just Reading. It's Jaywick. It's like Blackpool. Just the death of Britain. There's no pride anymore. They're all bums. Half the people are bums. The ones with a job piss their money up the wall on Yale, on more drank and watch football. Meanwhile, the bums are just sitting there begging money for crack and brown. Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. I think I'm going to move out of this country, man. I'm thinking of moving to Fiji because they got love for the Joe B show. You know what I'm saying? How long? I can't last here much longer, man. Trying to think, if anything else happened when I was in Reading, yeah, I mean, I went to another bar. This was the same bar, sorry, where they took my face. And I shouldn't do it, right? But I'm thinking, who cares, man? You know, this is not the thing that's going to bring me down. Having my picture taken before I go in a bar. And in there, like I said, you know, it was open till 4 a.m. There's some live music. It was, singing covers and shit. And I like covers. I don't hear no one's personal live music. Because if it was any good, it'd probably be in the charts. Well, I say that but it's all manufactured anyway, so who cares? But, you know, and I'm sitting there and there's like, you know, some twats, some drunken women. You know, it's always like that. There's a middle-aged drunken women. They get really into live music, don't they? They start jumping around and singing the songs enthusiastically because it reminds them of their lost youth. And now they're shriveled up prunes. They're shriveled up prunes doing a really whack dance moves on the dance floor and singing along with the live music. And Chubby's just sitting there like shaking his head going, what the hell, man? What is going on, man? And then there's always a couple of old pissheads, right? In these bars and spoons, and you can just look in their eye, they're on their own. I go in bars on my own, it's shit, but man, at least I recognize that, you know, this is not where I want to spend my time. I don't want to spend a lot of time here. I just want to look at the zoo. I want to look at the monkey there, the monkey cage, and check out the monkeys. But these are human monkeys. Well, allegedly, these hominids. Yeah, and you can see all these old boys sitting there with their red face and their watery blue eyes. You know, because their eyes are permanently watery because they're permanently pissed all the time. and you're sitting there and you look at their eyes and, you know, they like to pretend they're having fun, but you know that ain't the truth. That ain't the truth. What is the truth? Well, you know, they realize, I wish I'd made some different choices in life, you know. And it might have been cool hanging out in Spoons or you know, some other club stroke bar when you was 25, but you're not now. You're 55, or you're 65, or you look 65, even if you're 55. Yeah, and those chicks who back in the day might have talked to you. They think, why is that grandpa doing it in the pub? And why is he looking at me sleazily whilst eating a packet of prawn cocktail crisps and drinking a pint of Guinness with his watery blue eyes? Why is he staring at me? He's giving me the creeps. This guy's giving me the creeps with his watery blue eyes, and greedily tucking into a packet of prawn cocktail crisps, which don't taste anything like prawn cocktail if you ever had them. There's nothing like nothing. The only crisp that tastes like what they say is salt and vinegar, because obviously it's a strong flavour, and possibly cheese and onion. Possibly. That's it. All the other flavours don't taste nothing like it. Roast beef, roast chicken, Thai prawn curry. Just rubbish, man. And you notice these old pissheads, these granddads, that packet of prawn cocktail crisp lasts about a minute, because they're stuffing their diseased, gluttonous pink face with prawn cocktail crisps, and they can't wait to put the next one in their fat mouth, like Big John Fisher, that disgusting hog of a man. And that's modern Britain, bro. If there's any non-Brits listening to this, man, Aussies, I've got a lot of Aussie fans, I've got a lot of American fans, Irish fans. I mean, I don't know, is it the same in your country? Is it broken and so tragic? Do you have fat, pink-faced men with watery blue eyes stuffing their face full of prawn cocktail crisps? I'd like to hear it in the comments. But yeah, so I'm leaving tomorrow, thankfully, man. You know, I called it a day early. I came back home about 12:30. I was like, I can't be dealing with this anymore, man. But on the way home, I went to Popeyes. You know Popeyes? It started off an American chain. Obviously, they do fried chicken. But I got to be honest with you, when it comes to fast food, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. Wings and they're really generous with the sauces. They offer you extra sauces on the side, but you don't need to do it, because when you get your like 6 boneless, especially the chicken wings, saucy chicken wings, they're covered in buffalo wing sauce. You don't need to get a spare sauce, but I always do. So now I went home with a spare sauce in my pocket. I think it's Louisiana hot, but I'll use that for home cooking. But this is just crazy. This is in Reading, right? The Popeyes in Reading, yeah? And I order my food. I'm like, I need to drain the lizard. I drain the lizard before I, tuck into my... I had 6 boneless and 6 chicken wangs. But the boneless, there weren't 6 boneless. There was seemed to be about 12 of them. But that's okay, I eat them all. Anyway, I was thinking, well, damn, I need to drain the lizard. So I go to the toilet, right? I think, because the last thing you want to do, you can't enjoy your food where you're busting for piss, can you? Right? So I thought, you know what? I'll go into the toilet, I'll drain that lizard. I'll drain the lizard, and then I'm going to get back and get on my wings, my boneless, and my buffalo sauce, etc. So I go into the toilet, and guess what I see? No joke. This is what I see. Look at this now. Will you have a look? Will you have a look at that, please? Right? Will you have a look at that, please? Huh? A pregnancy test that has been used. Obviously, it's a piss test, isn't it? You got to piss on it. And if you're pregnant, your hormones have changed, and it should flag it up. Yeah, so this woman has gone into a Popeyes toilet. I don't even know if she had a chicken sandwich before or whatever, but she went into the toilets of Popeyes in Reading and pissed, on a pregnancy test, and left it there. Just fucking left it there, man. I mean, I've never seen that before in my life, man. And that should say a lot about the caliber of the people you gather in Reading. Yeah, There's a piss test, pregnancy test there. And it was negative, as you can see. So, yeah, I imagine she's happy about it. Because if she actually wanted to become pregnant and she had a husband and they've been trying to time it and they have an ovulation test, yeah, she would take the pregnancy test at home. She wouldn't go into Popeyes Louisiana hot chicken place and piss on a plastic pregnancy test and then leave it there if she wanted a kid, would she? I mean, how much more white trash can you get? Well, any trash, brown trash, black trash, white trash. You don't get that much yellow trash, actually, to be honest with you. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? You go places in China and all they do is gamble, drink whiskey, treat women like shit, and smoke cigarettes endlessly. But, that's not as offensive as going to Popeyes and having a pregnancy piss test, is it? Or having stupid tattoos, or being fat pig and stuff in your face. Yeah, I mean, my main thought was, I wonder how fat the woman was who went to the toilet before me and did a piss test. I bet she was like fucking 18 stone. I bet she had stupid tattoos. She probably didn't even know which Corey might have made her pregnant. She was like, well, it could be one of 6 people. Yeah, it could be James, John, Peter, Muhammad, Abdullah, and Jamal. I'm not sure. But the thing is, the piss test doesn't tell you which dad it is, and they won't tell you which colour the dad is. So, but she didn't have to worry, because like I said, I just seen it was a negative. So anyway, that was Triple B's the last few days. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going back to Reading in a hurry. And I told you about the Wetherspoons, and these were some of the most low-rent, disgusting, rude, lazy, fat staff I'd ever encountered. I mean, I know, Clarence shows, it don't cost nothing to be nice. Well, I don't, these girls don't get no tips. I don't expect them to be like, offering to give me a foot massage, but, a little smile and a thank you. I'm super polite. Would be nice. But no, these disgusting pigs just sit there with too much makeup, fake eyelashes, pink hair, stupid tattoos, bizarre piercings. Sometimes I see these piercings, I sit there staring, I can't even work it out. Where does it go in and where does it go out? And why do you think it's that good? I've seen it, like I said, one on the eyebrow, I've seen one on the shoulder, when a woman has a bar under her skin, but she has 2 balls at the end, which are external to the skin. Why? One, and it must cost them at least 50 or 60 quid. Let alone all the screws they got on their body. Why on earth would you sit and go, you know what would look really great? A metal bar going through my shoulder, my face, and no one can see it except if they look carefully, and they'll see 2 metal balls, and it might go off. Maybe I'll get a disease. Maybe half my face will fall off. Oh no, I don't care, because this is such a cool piercing. What's going wrong, man? Well, ain't no rhetorical questions. You know what's going on. Media, politics, film, right? Psychological attacks in school. And I'm sick of these bums. So yeah, I won't be returning to Reading anymore. If I'm wrong about Reading, and maybe I went to the wrong places. Well, going to Spoons is the wrong place, full stop. But like, when you want to visit the zoo, you go to the zoo. And that's all I've got to say tonight. Peace in the Middle East.